The history of Studio MDHR. Both Chad and Jared Moldenhauer started their independent studio out of their own homes back in 2000. They derived their studio name from their last name, which was abbreviation of Moldenhauer, and they went on to start working on a game. But due to a total lack of proper tools, they ended up stopping early on. But after seeing the success of another independent game called Super Meat Boy, it urged them to try again. So in 2010, they started work on Cuphead. Their main character's design was based off of a 1936 Japanese propaganda film where a man with a teacup for a head morphs into a tank. The brothers found that the animation was very strange, and right away the style stuck with them. And before settling on Cuphead's final design, they had created well over 150 different designs. Now, after slaving away for 4 years on their game, they were able to show off a demo at the 2014 E3. It was a major hit, and just a year later at the 2015 E3 show, they were able to have a playable version. Now, most players who played it loved the gameplay, but felt that the game needed more, since at the time it only consisted of boss battles. So, with the feedback they received, the brothers went back to the drawing board and started crafting whole new levels, which led to a multiple-year delay of the game. A much more challenging development process as well. Originally, both Chad and Jared wanted more than just boss fights when they started work on the game in 2010, but due to a severe lack of resources, they cut out the side-scrolling levels. After all, their studio at the time only consisted of 3 people that were only able to work on the weekends. So after the realization of the overwhelming amounts of fans clamoring for more than just boss battles, they both decided to quit their jobs and remortgage their homes so they had enough time and money to hire a larger team to finish the game. From designers to animators and digital painters, the Moldenhauer team grew to around 20 people. Their idea of Cuphead's gameplay came from their love of classic run-and-gun games like Gunstar Heroes and Contra, and the overall look of the game from 1930s-style animation like Popeye and Steamboat Willie. After trying other art styles like traditional to even childlike crayon drawings, they settled on the classic animation of Betty Boop and Silly Symphonies. Their art style stuck with them. They absolutely loved it from growing up as kids watching the cartoons. So, to get the authentic 1930s style cartoon animation, they built the game with painstaking hand-drawn levels, characters, and animation. They wanted it to look like it came right off of Walt Disney's desk. Everything from pencils, inks, and watercolor paintings was used, and every frame of animation was done by hand. And due to the overwhelming time and cost of everything to do it in this style, they had to make sure to keep every single thing in mind. Just like adding a simple looking new attack for an enemy could take well over 30 frames of animation, not including the time consuming implementation. That's why early on it was decided to stick to a 2D style side scroller instead of any sort of 3D. But this did lead to some advantages with their character designs, so more outlandish over-the-top ideas and levels were able to be created and put into the game. Every single enemy was meticulously created, from the smallest baddie to the biggest boss, and most all the characters had an average of 100 frames of animation. But the brothers realized that the control had to be just as good as the levels, monsters, and animation. So the control of the character had to be spot on. The timing of the actions in relationship to the button presses was designed way before they ever even started the design process of the bosses and the levels. The player input response was paramount to them to get it right, and with all the epic bosses having multiple set-piece stage battles and the player having to focus on multiple things at once, the controls had to be tight. And due to the hard work of the brothers and their team, Cuphead has since went on to become one of the best 2D shooters of all time, and has since went on to win over 9 different awards and several nominations, including Best Platformer, Best Independent Game, Outstanding Achievement, and Character Animation, cementing Studio MDHR as a top-tier independent studio, showing you that in this day and age that love, talent, and time, and not just necessarily a group of 500 team members, is what really truly takes to make an original fantastic game. This was Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I want to say thank you for everyone who watches this video. Please leave a comment below if you can't wait to find out what they're going to make next in terms of Cuphead 2. And remember, I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember people, the devil is in the details.